Time for episode 2 in the game. Investigation Part 1. The adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled band.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The Speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which she referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible Speckled band I had ever seen.
9th January, 6:37 a.m. On board the steamship Buria. Steamship Buria. Oh shit.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to
John
be
Dragon Senpai, thank you for the host of one viewer.
mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait.
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What?
Don't be absurd. This is murder. I need cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Herlock Sholmes.
Herlock
I
Sholmes.
presume You must have heard of me.
You'll be here, but you can't watch unless you want to spoil yourself. Look at these scenes. What are you talking about? You don't see shit. Are you gonna play this game, Johnny? Is that why you're not watching? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Wait. I can't move. Ah, what the? Why am I in handcuffs? Huh? Oh, so you wake up now, huh? We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You. Ah, you found me then. Ah, we found you. and now you pay. Criminal. With a K. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, Ugh, sorry. Now you have been found, it is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, huh? No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I like to know from you. Isn't that... Oh shit! Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Susato? Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Ha! You pretend you do not know? You are a wolf in the sheep's pelt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago.
Hello, what?
Here in this very cabin. That was bolted shut from the inside. His body? Please, do not try to tell us you are doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. What's up, CJ? Welcome to the stream. No. No! Once again, accused of murder. Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Ha 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 ha! Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewmate just tossed your traveling case onto the floor, I thought I was going to die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. Ugh, I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch for that, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No. But if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. Huh, I suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you better get in there. I think it won't be for long. And anyway, comparing to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I'll tell you what. Why don't you write "keep out" or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England. Together. We leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not a murderer. Ah, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on this ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Susato-san. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know.
Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you too.
Ugh, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream? And these handcuffs. They think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? Oh, fuck! I forgot I was supposed to have the girl voice. This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly?
Are you still going to deny the charge? Even despite the circumstances?
Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me.
The cause of death is still undetermined.
They don't know how he died? The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course he has no post-mortem analysis experience. Oh,
I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call.
so presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then.
That's true, yes.
Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma?
Presumably that's something you know the answer to. Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone.
Please.
Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all.
Well, yes, I was, but
He would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't.
does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door, I wonder?
I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-san collapsed on the floor.
And the white tape here now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow.
I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe.
This is all very hard to believe for me too, trust me.
Now I told you everything that I know. So it's my turn to ask you a question.
Yes, alright. Ugh, my head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything.
Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you?
Oh, yes. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now. I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time.
I had no idea. Well, how could you have occupied Kazuma-san's cabin for so long without him noticing? No.
No. That would have been impossible, obviously.
Yes, of course.
Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together.
He actually asked you? But why?
I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself.
I don't understand.
Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of the incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yes, you did say that. but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that. But I never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it.
Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing, that he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you.
Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san. I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. By stowing away on the ship, I mean.
If I know Kazuma-san, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association.
Damn! Spot on, dude. That's exactly right. Yes, word perfect, in fact.
If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here in this cabin?
Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. KAZUMA brought me something to eat just like he always did. Then I got myself into that wardrobe over there just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep.
Fell asleep?
Well, yeah.
So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-san was killed?
Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, really, I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. For some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything.
Really?
Is something wrong?
Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it.
Susato-san, you have to believe me, I didn't do it.
I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there's no one else who could have possibly done this.
Ugh. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Ugh, I can't take this. Don't try to go
Anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen.
I'm sorry, but KAZUMA was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around? My hands tied while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen.
Well, what do you propose to do then?
I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took KAZUMA's life and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me.
Aya!
What the?
That was a Susato takedown!
Hey, Susato what? What martial art form is that?
I'm going to need you to prove it.
Sorry? Prove it?
Yes, your innocence. I need evidence.
But how am I supposed to?
Have you forgotten already what you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law.
Ah, I see. Just expect me to prevent some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. Yeah, if I did it, how could I stick it?
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors?
Oh, yes it was. I remember clearly.
I thought so. KAZUMA always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well.
Ah, yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true.
In other words, it's impossible that I killed KAZUMA.
Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-san thought so highly of you.
Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up?
Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here at least.
Thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm
sorry, no.
What?
I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position.
What does he think I am, a magician?
For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same.
Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san.
Please, don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts.
Oh.
I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example.
Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. KAZUMA, I swear, I will avenge your death. Alright, let's examine. Look around. What is that? What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two.
The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netscape fastener from a kimono outfit.
I'm not sure that sounds like KAZUMA. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he?
And the mark beside it, what is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue.
Yes, you're right. It's the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin.
Oh dear, that won't do.
Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san?
Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly.
Ah, yes, that's not good.
I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san? I'm sure you're careful to look around using your B&M muscles, aren't you? Now, let's investigate all corners of this cabin.
Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. Perhaps I should see what the Russian crewmate makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me. What? I was wondering how it's going, the investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it's not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about his crime? Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke.
He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty.
He might have useful information though. I have to keep trying. So last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Nyet, of course not. Now back to the corner of the room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered.
When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed.
It's quite a small bolt and not particularly sturdy. And it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there will be no way to get in or out of the cabin. That's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this.
Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using the needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid.
When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Buria. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Wait, Kazuma carries his sword. What? Why are you staring at me?
Oh, sorry, I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide.
Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here.
That's Kazuma's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it.
Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man katana is his soul. I believe he had to
work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on his trip.
I suppose it shows just how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. That's my dinner from last night, a roast chicken. It was really tasty.
Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here?
I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of, when and how did the plate end up on the floor?
But Kazuma-san didn't like chicken at all, did he?
No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me.
Oh no, does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on Earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible.
Ugh, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Wait, is that a fucking knife? The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way.
And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well.
Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything mown down at once.
I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think?
I seriously doubt it.
And perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage.
I wouldn't have bothered leaving a wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder?
Well, I just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess.
Wait, she touched the crime scene. She just fucked up the crime scene. She literally just fucked it up. Why did she do that? Oh my god. She just fucked with the crime scene. And she said, if I was gonna fuck up the crime scene, what a dumb, what a, ooh, what a, Seigi, the Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma.
Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully?
Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to?
Even though you stowed away on this ship.
Now you're going to bring that up, are you? I can't win. Oh. So we already got all that, got all this, got that, got that.
That's a very large traveling case, isn't it?
Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me.
Memories? What do you mean?
Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case.
Ah, yes, I see. This way up in Japanese.
Which in hindsight, I should have realized this foreign crewman wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here.
Oh dear. Being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds.
Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. Did Kazuma write that before he died? Looks like it's written in ink.
He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-san, no doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it.
I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. Your writing.
I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san.
What? Then what language is it?
It pains me to admit it, but I don't know.
Not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder?
I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate in the cabin.
Isn't that a little odd?
What do you mean?
Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin.
Yes, it would appear to. You're right.
But if its purpose to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside.
Huh, that's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray doesn't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that.
I suppose, maybe that's it.
Yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think.
What do you mean, contraption?
I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often had bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants.
Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try?
Yes, in the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people.
No, I'm sure it's just everybody's busy, so that's all.
It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san?
I think living isn't quite the right description.
Oh no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting making this voyage in your own secret hideout.
The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception.
But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin.
No, sadly not.
This is where dear Kazuma-san would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma, he didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though his last entry is incomplete. Which means...
Oh, which means what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue.
Hiya! That's out of the question.
What? Kazuma-sama may have to... Oh,
Kazuma-sama may have departed through this world, but you may not read his private thoughts.
but what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, we won't read it. Bro, are we just fucking handicapped?
Poor Kazuma-sama.
I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? What the fuck? Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be a European. Oh.
Oh, how did he?
You noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious and tall, and suspiciously tall.
Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is?
Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. That's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating KAZUMA's death, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell.
Well, in that case, we must simply talk with him.
Am I just imagining it, or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited?
By the way, I expect you noticed already, but just in case, if you press space on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them.
Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself.
Oh, please do.
Is there anything else? I guess there's nothing else. Still a check. Anything else?
There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason.
Yes, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still... No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all.
So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama.
No. Alright, think I got everything. Now I just gotta talk to Sherlock here. Or Herlock, I mean. Excuse me? Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh, this is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Greetings, I hope I haven't kept you long.
Ah!
What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? I see, fascinating. Sorry, what did you see? It feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You. I've been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. What? Sorry. What? And now, whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But
how?
How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining.
Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else?
But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake and now traveling to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the beribboned occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in the cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits this bill.
So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama.
Dude, she's so stupid. What?
And you're plotting a revolution too. It's shameful behavior, Naruto-san. Absolutely wicked.
No, listen. There's no way I...
Hiya!
Dude, I would just fucking... Ooh, I would just fucking, like, left hook this bitch. Boom! Now explain yourself.
Now explain yourself. Tell me everything.
This is ridiculous.
How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes.
Oh, for pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously.
Oh, forgive me.
And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Ah, there you have it, you see. What do you make of that, huh? Well, to be honest, the ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, so you see, I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. Ha! I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Sherlock Holmes.
So it's really you, the actual Sherlock Holmes.
The very same. The inimitable, actual Sherlock Holmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world, Naruhodo-san. Of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on then? You must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Or, he was really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Great detective. So you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I see, you're German. Sherlock, was it? No, I have no her. I mean, I have hair. Please call me Holmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication.
Oh yes, Rant's magazine full of wonderful short stories and interesting articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially.
Ah yes, here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed, I am. And you read so many of your own stories you started to think you really are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in a magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I have been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really, I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form. A science?
A science?
Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of the reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin. All these things are data. Right. And a trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow. Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. I see, in other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about KAZUMA's summon this morning, I summoned all the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective, Sherlock Holmes, was on board. And the handcuffs seem to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really? Two facts, you say? Mr. Sholmes, tell us please. What two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Yes, but first let us be precise. The two factors in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand. But what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of crime were as follows. Number one, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number two, the victim was Russian, killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes, what made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think KAZUMA-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. KAZUMA was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Guardrobe may be the name of the killer. A certain Robert Guard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least. Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so, I found you. The renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you are wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you are acquainted. And if my memory serves, the outfit is the traditional dress of a Russian people.
Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people. I had no idea.
And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, KAZUMA had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I actually seen him like this.
Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, yes. Thank you. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sherlock Holmes? Mr. Sholmes? What pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all of that. Ah yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? What the fuck is that? Koheyo! Certainly, if it interests you. How many times I'm not Russian, and I don't speak Russian? Can we talk about your deduction before? Things you concluded about me, I mean. The famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in? Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part. Yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning paper. The main headline reads, "What the fuck? Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai." This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday. And last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was KAZUMA a Russian? Sounds like Mr. Sholmes had concluded that he was Russian because of what KAZUMA-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after the true identity was discovered. Yes, you, Villain Bolshevik. No, how could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Ugh, please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway.
What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower.
Yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about the revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake.
Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder?
What about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clear stated here in the article. Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself as a little memento for this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. The article about the revolutionary has been entered into the court record. And you may find an article on the back page of interest as well. On the back? Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Who is this? Huh, this is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Oh,
Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san?
oh no. I mean, it looks like it might be interesting.
I can't read a single word, I'm afraid.
No, nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess. Do you think?
She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you?
I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Oh, I'm glad you noticed this article. Ah! Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappeared from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It appeared a woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles.
Oh,
Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles?
I have no idea, but I'm quite sure. It must be an unbelievable sum of money.
Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They request international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be a Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify with that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. The article about the ballerina has been entered into the court record. I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian.
I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian.
No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, "Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai." Yes, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, he is fearsome.
Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only to shave it off. I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Holmes. Ah, these must be remnants of the glue used to stick the paper seal on the wardrobe. That's right, it was pulverized rice. Pulverized rice? Yes, I pulverized some of the rice for my evening meal, even though it broke my heart. Broke your
heart? What do you mean?
Remember, I'm a stowaway on the ship. All I had to eat were KAZUMA's leftovers. Even a couple of grains of rice could have meant the difference between life and death.
Oh my, it must have been awful for you, Naruhodo-san. But I have some glue with me as it happens. You're welcome to use it this evening.
Oh, thank you very much.
You drew the characters for this paper seal, didn't you, Naruhodo-san? They're such bold, vivid strokes you make.
You're looking at a man who came aboard inside a trunk. Those brushstrokes needed to make a statement. If they found me in that wardrobe, those Russians would have hurled me into freezing cold ocean.
I'm sure none of the crewmen would have done anything like that.
Huh. Well, I'm not so sure.
They would have forced you to wash dishes in the galley until you were on death's door or something like that.
Wash dishes until I was on death's door? That's a lot of dishes. Ah, the symbol of Yume University. Every student wears his pin with pride. It's funny, but most emblems seem to be either round or rectangular. I like this spike design, even though it doesn't really make any sense. Although it does cause problems, lots of students end up cutting their fingers on the badges. Perhaps it's the idea of one of the founders, a sharp pin for a sharp mind or something. Hey look, a number! 106-000. My personal student number is engraved on the back here. If you lose your pin, they won't accept you as a Yume student at the university. You may not come in, as they say. Of course, you can get a new pin if you can just tell them your number. I actually lost mine twice already, but I still don't know my student number by heart. I always say to myself, I mustn't forget to write it down somewhere, but then I forget not to forget that. Before we started talking, you were examining KAZUMA's desk, weren't you? KAZUMA? Ah yes, the victim.
Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all?
Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. KAZUMA was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. It's something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I do know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Susato-san, aren't you going to throw the detective one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Life is unfair, dude. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It appeared the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikaido, nado nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. Haha. But this diary is littered with complicated looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. Ah ha ha. So was all that showing off about before then?
If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes.
I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? Huh. These are very deep waters. Pray go on.
The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
A speckled band? What on earth does that mean?
I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before.
The ventilator grill, you say. The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary has been entered into the court record. Wait, what if the killer was the ballerina girl? So I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least.
Ah, do you have somewhere to go?
As it happens, the victim's writing in this diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold.
Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to.
Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? Huh. No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? Simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No. There's no point in trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing.
Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too.
You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what, were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. Sense of humor as twisted as his name.
Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for?
Huh?
We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well.
Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can.
Hiya! After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moment struggling to leave us a clue you're willing to give up, you're going to want to roll over and accept your fate.
Ugh. As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can do in this camp while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea.
Good idea.
The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to KAZUMA to do everything I can to find a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice. Is that?
Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san?
Oh no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him before. It's Inspector Hosonaga!
Oh yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir.
Yes, what can I do for you? I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is!
I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga.
Is he gonna do the pose? Oh fuck, I thought he was gonna do the pose. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you. My heart stopped. Nearly stopped? I hope not. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship. Again?
You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector.
If there's anything I could do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board. Perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector?
Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew?
I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that even been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Mr. Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible.
I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated.
Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew.
I see.
And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night. Every day. But I never imagined it would happen here inside his own cabin. Not here on the first class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I could do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So if there's anything at all I could do to help now, just say the word. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer. Of course not.
We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door.
Yes. So we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, a stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean?
Or what do you mean?
If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I laid my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way.
There may be a way.
What, really?
Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession.
Evidence?
It's just the same as when you are in the court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel.
Wait, let's investigate the book first. Okay.
And choose some evidence Inspector Hosonaga could use.
So evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes. I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary.
Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary.
Strange? In what way?
He wrote what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that, but what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it?
You're very astute, Inspector.
That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right, so if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I have to entrust the investigation to you.
Really? You're willing to do that?
Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you.
Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last.
Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. January 9th, 7:48 a.m. SS Buria, first class cabin passageway. Woo! I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation.
Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on a study tour by the government. That's why he was put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage.
Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. There's another crewmate keeping watch, and he looks enormous, even if he's sitting down. The door next
to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't.
I suppose. Like people in handcuffs.
Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already.
Well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma-sama's trunk Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe.
It must have been a very trying time for you.
Please, don't give me that pitying look. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You? You little stowaway murderer?
That wasn't a good start, was it?
Oh, that wasn't a good start, was it?
Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you?
You? You little third-class ladies' maid?
Oh,
We seem to have caught this sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I am not Sailor. My mother gave me a name. I am senior crewman, Biff Stroganov. Damn, Biff Stroganov. Wow, the best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Or Mr. Stroganov, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in finest part of Burya steamship, for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret. Many important persons. This is why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but Stroganov is not animal. Thank you. If I may,
I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied?
Ah! Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da.
It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes or no.
Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin at least.
Yes, it's tantalizing.
Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He is a very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is an authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? Shanghai. That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time. I never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins.
He must be rather important, is that right?
That is not your business. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganov? Ah, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out.
I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all?
It is sad about student boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Hit! Susato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. I saw nothing unusual, nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises? Or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said no. Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or as English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand.
Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we?
Definitely. That book on top of the table there really is huge. There's a pen with it too.
Yes, I'm sure that's the ship's log.
Shall we have a little look through it?
The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded.
Huh, you wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting.
Anyway, look here. Last night's log is mostly blank.
Presumably that means there was nothing to report. This looks like a plan of the SS Buria. It shows each deck. Look. The Buria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering! Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Hoss0312, thank you for following. Pretty sure you're a bot, because there's been a lot of Hoss that's been following me lately. Yeah, your account was just created 18 minutes ago, but you know what? A follow is a follow. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes.
Yes, they're not metal, but they're enormous lumps of earth, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them.
Well, I suppose so.
That's the way to the second-class area of the ship. Is something wrong?
I wasn't thinking about making a run for it, just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me.
I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman will surely shoot you dead. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there.
No, I started it with my talk of running away. And there's no way I could run away while KAZUMA's death remains a mystery anyway. Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait.
Let me see. Yes, I think that's what it's called, cheese. It's made from the milk of cows.
Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like.
You can't eat it nor hold a sign. The trap will shut on your fingers.
Really? But, I suppose you're right.
You weren't actually going to try it, were you?
All I had to eat for the past couple of weeks is KAZUMA's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you.
Poor you, I'll find you a little snack for you later.
First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin.
Not our cabin, it's KAZUMA-sama's.
Sorry?
Your accommodation is confirmed to the wardrobe inside the cabin.
You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. These
cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin steers is number 539, by the way.
500 and... How many cabins are there? What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it?
That's an emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it.
Oh, an alarm.
It says press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship, and it brings the vessel to a complete stop.
Oh, this. I have to see.
What are you doing there all the time? You must not touch it.
But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs.
You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation.
Ah, I wish everything would just stop. This ship included.
If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else.
Hydrate. I got you. Woo! Ooh, water. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to. Oh, wow.
Yes, the ventilator from which KAZUMA-sama wrote that he saw a speckled banner emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask.
No answer. Wait, how do they open the door? There's like no handle. They just push it?
We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help our inquiries.
How annoying. I could have sworn the Sherlock guy's in there. Ah! What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream.
It must have been a woman.
Stand aside! Hiya! Oh. It's Sholmes. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes! I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges.
Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted.
It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What prey can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. 9th January, SS Buria, first class, cabin number 2. Oh shit! Who are you? A Western gentleman. This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True, this old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimesby Roylott, I believe. Yes, that's me. And you are... I am the one and only, the actual Sherlock Sholmes. You heard of me, no doubt. No. I'm a great detective among great detectives, one who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. The man uses that magazine like a business card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there would appear to be a lady there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might I be so bold to ask you to open that small traveling case? Wah, don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in such a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. Oh! Oh my! Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the case just shook. Leave, now. Otherwise, I'll call the steward. So this is KAZUMA's neighbor, Mr. Grimesby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something.
I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns.
Mr. Roylott, we'd like to ask you about something. No. Oh. I do not want to talk. Leave my cabin now. Ugh, this is going terribly. We're not getting anywhere here. I agree, but there may be someone else here who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Wait a minute. Oh, I see it. Well, let's check this fucking case. What's in this case? What do you think you're doing? Ah! This is my cabin. Get out. Could we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps? No. What a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right.
There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do.
I agree. But there may be someone else who can help. Wait, let's talk to him to see what he says first, and then we'll talk to Okay, never mind. I guess all the things requiring me talking to the detective. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed. I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for an inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of detection to service. Oh! And it was seen that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on, for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylov, is clearly trying to hide something. How do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding in secret? Why, the truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian would react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it?
Oh, yes, please.
Well then, what you are about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time it occurs to me, is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone.
That's right, and Mr. Sholmes. I know this man's appears the dark glasses are hard to ignore, but especially on first meeting by what I once read. It's a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment.
Shh! I may have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. Huh? There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Uh-huh. And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Ah! Oh, Naruhodo-san, I never imagined I would have witnessed one of Mr. Sholmes' greatest deduction with my own eyes. That was a great deduction? Nothing could deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can do all there is to know about a person. What? What ineffable twaddle.
Oh yes, I read about it countless times in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand.
This is like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the color has been drained from Mr. Roylot's face. Looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. How? How could you? How could I possibly know such things? You wish to say? Very well then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. The great deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Old man's identity. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place? It's the enormous pair of shears in your hands. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring at us in the face. You're on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now moving on. The question that begs is this: why would you desire to get rid of yourself with this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular, the fascinating front page article, which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals her true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, "Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai." As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decide to remove your incriminating facial hair before I give you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, villain Bolshevik. Not that I heard of you myself, you understand. Conclusion: a revolutionary on the run. Topic 2. Wrongdoing. Now as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of the crime? Over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taking unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah! And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that case can be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps, once light enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'eau betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. For there is another most stimulating article. If we turn from fleeing revolutionary to the back page, renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Conclusion. Kidnapping of a young ballerina. Thus concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma, Elemensky. Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it?
Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow.
Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions, would you mind? Not at all, go on. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Ah, yes, I recall our discussion earlier, and at the time I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance.
In fairness, Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylott does look more like this man than you do.
That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina, indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old in that case, even if you pushed really hard.
I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she?
You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? Oh, well, she's 15, and
That's then 10 years worth of her will be poking out from the case.
some years ago I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain lithiness in their body. Vinegar? Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case.
Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes.
Good, this whole thing is turning into a circus.
Mr. Naruhodo, something's occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observations are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that just seems a little off.
Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Mr. Sato.
It's just one or two key words in his deduction that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think?
Switch some key words in his deductions? Yes.
But very tactfully. I feel sure we could do that. We unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction.
Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. At times I wonder how anyone puts up with me. Ha 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 ha. It's not that funny. And you, my good fellow. Alright? Take a moment to look at your wrist. My wrist? What the? Where are your handcuffs? Huh? How did... I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrist when we are finished. I'm not worried, in fact. I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. There you go. How the fuck did I struggle saying that? Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Topic 1. Old man identity. So the dubious looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches his eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport.
I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard?
I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either. Which means I suppose that the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch a key word here,
Naruhodo-san, and see if it else matters.
Alright, but how?
I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott.
I wonder if it really is his beard that he intends to use those shears on.
Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deduction better,
Then what?
then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san.
Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott going to use those enormous shears for? Alright, I'm back. What the fuck? This is so interesting. Obviously, he's gonna cut that fucking suitcase. Wait a minute. Golden locks? Why does he have hair under him? Wait a minute. What the? What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. No, the color is not the point. The point is, what is it doing on the back of Mr. Roylott's head? How's it growing from underneath his thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true. So it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here.
Yes!
Oh! You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed, you have identified the precise details intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all, you're a woman, and judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one still very much in her youth. Oh no. If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to get rid of the magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea the old man was really a young woman disguised, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that?
Yes, it was a surprise. Naruhodo-san, you're enjoying this, aren't you?
Sorry?
You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room, deducing the facts from Mr. Sholmes.
I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business, not strictly
Yes, I understand. Say no more.
Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? The evidence that he picked out didn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true. Given that Mr. Roylott is actually a woman. Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary.
I suppose it's because the deduction was as a whole is taking a different direction now.
Yes. Let's switch the evidence for something else.
Let's switch the evidence for something else, something that fits the facts as we now understand them.
For some reason, this woman needs to try to hide her true identity. I feel as though I either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best. Boom. Article about the ballerina.
Yes!
The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right, you hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina. Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Ooh! Or ah! Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Not bad.
You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean Nikolina Pavlova.
I lost it.
But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone.
Can you give her a better voice? Dude, how could I give her a better voice? That is the classic girl voice I give everyone. Let's prove my second conclusion. You are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes astray, you see. Ah! And I assure you, the eye speaks so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. The woman is the ballerina. She's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside that traveling case as well.
No, that's right. You see, she wasn't abducted at all.
In which case, what is the crime of this young woman is apparently committing? Ha! I can see I'm going to have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. You seem to look pleased.
You seem to look pleased, Maruoto-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around, Mr. Sholmes?
Stop it. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. What did she glance at? Oh, the tiara! Damn.
Yes!
The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. Ah! 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 I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it is an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you have committed is theft. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Yes, you left your ballet troupe unlawfully, taking their precious tiara with you. Ah! Ah! I have no one, no family, no friends. I am all alone and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia? It belongs to me. This girl is only 15 years old and she's run away all by herself? She must have been extremely lonely. Alright, I will tell you everything. There is no point to hiding it now. Come, come, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case even before I had ever laid eyes on them. Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'eau betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the books on the shelf. Huh? What? Huh? Huh? Pega, dude.
I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this?
It's just a wild guess, surely.
Oh, do you think so?
Well, it doesn't seem like that's the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case. Would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her.
Yes, that's true. But still, Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself.
Then there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. It must be somewhere in the same area. If that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn.
I agree, that's the only answer.
Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. A small picture.
This is a charming picture, isn't it?
What is it? Someone climbing a steep mountainside? Or descending one, it seems to me. When you've been on flat sea for a while, maybe you start seeing hills and mountains and everything. Is this a small picture? The reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the books on the shelf. Why is it the book? What? Ah, it looks like these are all the same books that we have in our cabin. I suppose the steward likes to make sure passengers have plenty to read for the long voyage.
And how you notice how all the books are fallen over just like in KAZUMA-san's cabin? It almost like someone takes a sweep at them. Maybe Miss Pavlova.
Well, maybe Miss Pavlova while she was practicing her ballet. Anyway, the point is we don't have time to look through all these books at the moment. We couldn't even if we wanted to. They're all in Russian. Oh, that's a relief. Let's try our luck elsewhere. Obviously not the rules of passage, right? These are the rules of passage for traveling aboard.
Traveling aboard the SS Berea. Passengers will not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden.
There's exactly the same notice in our cabin too. I don't know what happens if you break the rule.
Oh dear, I'm sure the punishment will be severe, Naruhodo-san. You'll probably be left adrift in the freezing cold ocean. Or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end.
But I've actually been serving time for weeks now. Have I? Dangerous objects, so the shears. It's this one. It's the rules of the passage. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case, written in the rules of passage. Passengers will not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. Oh, it's a pet! It's a pet! It's like a dog in there or some shit. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents.
Hi!
Oh. Hi. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova. Inside your traveling case. It's the last item listed as forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage. A pet. Oh, that... Shit. I burped, right? Like that was not intentional. Oh, that shit was not intentional. Deduction complete. Elementary. So clearly you aren't who you said you were.
No, I am not a Grimesby Roylott. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct.
You absconded during one of our ballet company's performance in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel, which couldn't have been easy. The Buria is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could she really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. And you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So if it were you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? The variable thinking of a bell? Why, none other than this young lady, naturally. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me.
I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai.
I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disgust myself. So no one would recognize me. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be disguise, not disgust.
As a result, you transformed yourself into a questionable old man, I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. Then just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper. Right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearances completely, that they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fast as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and...
At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door.
Things happen like that sometimes, don't they?
Things do indeed happen like that, from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing?
There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You were right. It's my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please. Please don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew...
Your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night.
Yes, alright, I will tell you. Well...
Fuck. Dude, swapping between the girl voices is kind of hard.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh my god, I almost gave her the Weevil voice.
Wasn't it something? Mr. Sholmes' great deduction? It was certainly
Oh, it was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. Ah, and one more thing. Oh yes, what? Observe your wrists. My...
Ah! Your hands are cuffed again!
What? But how? True to my word, I have restored your shackles. Ah, when? And why? There's still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. there.
I'm sorry to say I can't be helped at the moment.
Ah, can't it? Really? Anyway, let's listen
to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what's the speckled band that Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was.
Oops. Oh, that's a... Alright, let's investigate the luggage now. Let me see.
Don't touch!
Huh?
I will tell you what I know about last night, but please, you must not touch my things. How do you say, forbid it.
Oh wait, wrong voice. Oh, sorry. As well as you should be, young man. What vulgar manners do you have? poking around in a young lady's private belongings, neither shall I allow it. Ugh, hypocrite. Oh, are we done exploring already? Huh. Alright. What happened last night? Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night?
One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died.
Oh, the man who died. He was a friend of mine.
Oh,
That's why we're trying to figure out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night?
perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people talking.
Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest? Perhaps it's a steam engine exploded? Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened.
Miss Pavlova, is there anything you could tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me.
Oh, I see. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet?
Yes. I am traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life.
You wish to forget? A challenging proposition. When you had that striking tiara as a reminder.
But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes, and the crew of this ship, they have all been kind to me. They let me come on board and they said I could hide in this cabin.
If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum.
Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo?
Me? Oh, well, yes. Of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. To what conundrum, I'm not sure, but... Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Beria stopped by no port last night. Ah, that's it, of course. So how is it, pray, that you come to be aboard?
Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about what the when the occupant of the cabin came aboard.
That is not your business. Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something.
An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage.
Sorry, what was that?
It is how the Russian newspaper described one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel.
Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid. Mr. Sholmes once said, I never can resist a touch of it. Oh.
It seems Pavlova is the same.
A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, in fact. Yes, Mr. Shoei. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. So the friend you mentioned is traveling inside your traveling case. Is that right?
I don't think animals are allowed on board according to the rules of passage. Oh, please don't tell any of the crew. If they find my precious.
Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt.
Ah!
I don't know how to scream. How do I scream in that voice?
What sort of pet is your friend? Little puppy? It is, isn't it?
It's a cat. Maybe an adorable little rabbit? Ha! You credit Russia as a land of small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then? You may well ask. I have no idea. Ah. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken. What?
Really?
Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs, and when adversity strikes, it can satisfy the need of sustenance. So you eat your friends, I'll remember that. That guy's smart, bro. That guy would have a pet chicken, bro. Well, it would appear his friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed. She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. I don't think I could show her. This is the diary of my friend who passed away.
His diary?
Yes, and he wrote in it last night before he died, something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. Then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. It's a bird! A speckled band? A speckled band? I don't understand. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabins are connected together.
Oh. Miss Pavlova, has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mention something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps?
No, I don't know anything. Oh? Excuse me, Mr. Roylott. Yes? What? Wow, she's fast. Captain would like to speak to you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please. Alright, I will come. Alright, I will come now. Alright, Roylott gets the fucking guy voice. Just really good at fucking hiding her voice. What? You must leave, now. Oh no, it's fine, don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylott. Get out! The passenger said out! Or you want me to throw you out? Ugh, it looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later. What a pity.
Oh, what a pity!
And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. To be continued. Dun dun dun. Damn, investigating is long. Holy hell. Save. Alright. I think we're gonna end stream here. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and like and comment on the video. Thanks. And hit the bell icon too. Yeah.